I was actually going to talk about Damian Lillard because I've got the complete opposite opinion about that. And here's going to be the title of this clip. You ready? The
Yeah.
Portland Trailblazers are going to be a seriously good team next year. I guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Mm.
You know why
Yeah, I
they're going
want
to
to
be a
hear
really
this.
good team? You know why? All
Wow.
right. Here's what Portland have done, which no one is talking about. They have freed up $65 million in cap space for free agency, right? And they have
Yeah.
2 top 15 picks. There's also a player who has been extremely interested in going to Portland, who still wants to be a top guy on his team, that I think will 100% go there, and is apparently is close with Damian Lillard as well. Jeremy Grant, dude. Jeremy Grant, I think, could 100% go to Portland. Then what you're doing here is you bring in Jeremy Grant, $25 million a year, $20 to $25 million a year. Bring in a bunch of other role players. Bring Nurkic back. 2 top 15 players you're bringing in off the bench. Continue development of Simons. You got a second year now on your new coach. Damian Lillard's back healthy. I think they're actually going to be. I have a feeling Portland are like low key up to something. I have a feeling behind it.
You think so?
I actually do. I have a big feeling. And this isn't me like saying a far-fetched thing. Like the Wizards and Kyrie Irving, I just kind of pulled that out of my ass just here and there on this podcast right now. But I've given serious thought to the Portland Trailblazers. And I think they're going to be really good next year.
It's crazy because it's ironic because I feel the opposite. I do not feel like Portland. I do not feel like Portland strategically made the moves to free up that cap to acquire a talent. And the only reason I feel that way is because of what they traded CJ McCollum for, right? Because yes, Josh Hart he can be a talented player. Don't get me wrong. I think we've talked about him. Josh Hart, he gives them a different dimension of what Portland needed for years, right? I think they should have traded for Jrue Holiday. But I do not think that they got the full return for CJ McCollum.
Wow,
and because of that, I have a suspicion that they are intending to rebuild this roster. It's just a matter of can they get the right players to rebuild this roster. I think they are, as much as they say they're never going to trade Dame, I think is coming. It is approaching. And I think it might happen as quickly as this offseason where Damian Lillard ends up getting traded.
You don't think Jeremy Grant could join the Trailblazers? Because that was the word before in the trade deadline. They were saying that the Trailblazers were one of the big teams. And then it was talked about once the Trailblazers blew it up that they were actually saving cap to bring in Grant in the offseason. And dude, Grant is still a guy that could average 18 a game, 36% from three, good perimeter defense. And I just have a feeling that, and Nurkic has come back really well. Like since all these trades have happened, I'm pretty sure Nurkic is averaging a double-double and is playing the best he has since like 2018.
Yeah, but then he got hurt.
A solid small forward in there, that starting five would be good. Like Dame right there. Simons is averaging 18 plus this year. Then you've got a small forward there. You got Grant at the power forward and Nurkic at the 5. All you need is just fill out that bench, and that's a playoff team.
And I'm willing to bet because Nurkic, I think they said Nurkic might be out for a month. Did
he get injured again?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're kidding me, bro. Why is he doing this to me?
I'm almost certain. And this is why I believe, right? Because low key, I do think you were. I think Portland, because I think we all heard the rumors. They eagerly wanted Grant. I think they intent with Grant. I think they are going to end up getting Grant. But I do not think it's because they want to build Grant with Damian Lillard. I think they getting Grant to build around a Fernie Simons. Wow. I think that's really because I think they're going to end up trading Nurkic. I think the only reason they wasn't able to do it before the trade deadline is because his asking price was probably too low because of his health. And I do feel like Dame, they're gonna find a way to get Dame out of there. And the reason I think that is because they would not have, if their intent was really to essentially build their roster back up via free agency, I do not think they would have traded CJ McCollum for just Josh Hart and Nickeil Alexander, who they traded again
Yeah.
for a player. I don't even remember who they traded him for.
But they got a top 15 pick though, right? That's what they got out of the deal.
Yeah, they got some good picks, but once again, I just don't think those picks is gonna be able to get developed in time to restructure, which is kind of making me feel like Dame is not gonna be there for this pick. Because I think they're gonna draft that pick. I don't think they're not trading that pick. They can't.
No.
Right? I think they're gonna double down with Nasir Little. I think they're gonna double down with Fernie Simons. I think they're gonna go out their way to try to trade Nurk, and I think they are going to try attempt to shop Damian Lillard.
So hold on, we both think the Trailblazers are getting Jeremy Grant, but you think it's for a rebuild to put him with Simons to at least make it somewhat interesting. But I believe the Trailblazers are going to go all in. I just feel like that'd be uncharacteristic of what we've seen the Trailblazers do for so many years for them to trade a guy. And I've seen Dame's been doing podcasts recently. Like, I don't think he wants to leave.
He doesn't.
I don't think it's happening.
He doesn't. And that's the crazy thing. But the reason why, like I said, because like you even said it best just a moment ago, Portland, what we've been saying for Portland, this is really, really weird for Portland to be in this situation. For the past 10 years, Portland has been consistently making a standard move, right? Little small moves, get a little role player here. But obviously this season, some happened for them to pull the plug, right? Because they traded Robert Covington. They traded, it was another small forward they gave up too. Larry Nance.
Larry Nance,
They took
which I think
Eric
was
Bledsoe.
good. Larry Nance just wasn't doing anything for them. That was, Larry Nance, dude. I don't know what's going on with him.
And then they traded CJ McCollum before the trade deadline, which I do not like. People knew they was probably gonna shop CJ, but not this soon, right?
Is it weird that I actually think that they came out better for the CJ McCollum trade at the moment? Not saying for the future, because I don't know what's going on with the Pelicans. And I think this might segue into my next thing. So we'll talk about the Pelicans in a second. But I'm thinking, now I'm not a gambler. My mates all gamble. They're all in betting. But I've just gotten an idea. We could legitimately put a bet on, we don't have to do it now, but a bet for me to say the Trailblazers make the playoffs next year and for you to say that they don't and see who wins. I reckon that's interesting because I've got them making the playoffs at the moment because I reckon they're going to go big. But I got to wait till free agency first. I need to see like what they're doing.
Oh yeah, I'm willing. I'm not even willing to see free agent. I'm willing to bet a case of Sprite right now. A can of Sprite, a case on some Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp that they will not. That they have the intent to trade Damian this season, and that they will not. Well, and really the bet is that the Portland will not make the playoff next season.
It's really
no matter what moves they make.
Yeah, people are going to be watching this, and like Trailblazers fans, half of them are going to be like, "Hell yeah, we're going to make the playoffs." The other half are going to be like, "Dude, we need to rebuild by now." And then NBA fans are just going to be NBA fans are just going to be saying, "I just want Damian Lillard on my team. I don't care what happens. Just give me Dame."
Yeah. Because they should free Dame, but I honestly, at this point, and I'm not even going to fake, because honestly, I don't think Portland fans, they are going to be in the mix, and I do not think they should be angry, but I really think if Portland really want what's best for Portland, they would double down on what I believe is Portland attempting to rebuild officially.
Yeah.
And I really think so because, like you said best, Portland typically – for the past 10 years or so, has stayed to a certain formula that they wouldn't make too many crazy or make too many big moves, right? Portland has already this season made a lot of big moves to create a lot of salary cap, which they have been over the salary cap for literally the past several years, right? And they're attempting to try to develop their young players like a Fernie, Nasir. And I just believe that, and even if they get Jeremy Grant, I feel like Jeremy Grant is really to complement those young guys. I don't think it's really for Dame.
True.
I just true and that's one of the reasons why I think they also preparing that cap space too. One is to pay
Simons eventually.
eventually, and then also eventually
Little,
oh God,
maybe.
Yeah. So, and I really think to an extent, I think they're trying to do like how the Cavs did our rebuild,
Yeah.
right? Have the money available. If we need some role players, we get those role players for those young guys. Because I think at some point, Portland had to have learned where they went wrong with Damian Lillard.
Mm.
And they went wrong because they had no money to get him a talent.
Yeah.
And when they needed to make a move, they couldn't make a move because the only tradable asset they had was CJ McCollum. But they was so locked in with CJ McCollum. The moves they could have made, like with Drew Holiday, they could have possibly got Paul George. They could have got all these players, but yet they was not able to pull the plug. And I think Portland is finally realizing after wasting 10 years of Damian Lillard's prime that we cannot do this with a Fernie Simons if we really believe he is our future. So,
I've got another low-key thing which I think could happen. I said this, so I've got a Portland video coming out soon, basically discussing why I think they're going to be good next year. And I actually said a player out of pocket, like there's no interest in this player, but I actually said, I reckon if this player wants a fresh start, which I think he will, I think this would be a good team. And I was saying, what about if TJ Warren? TJ Warren looks at the Trailblazers as well, goes and joins Grant and goes and plays with Dame, Simons, and Nurkic. And then I was thinking, those forwards, the perimeter defense is pretty good, and you've got really like 2 3-point shooters that can create their own shot if they need to, that can play around, Dame and Simons. Like, I just think it'd be a really fun starting 5, and then you just go and fill out that bench. Go out and get a solid bench in free agency. And then I think you genuinely have a crack at, like, especially if you can get like 13 to 15 point per game, TJ Warren 40% from 3 back, that type of guy. I think you got a good team on your hands. But
so question, what you do with Josh Hart?
What do you do with Josh Hart? That is in the video. I'm pretty sure I said I think they'll look to trade him if they want to go and get another like solid dude, like a Lauri Markkanen type guy, like not trade for Lauri Markkanen. Remember when Cavs signed a young dude for $17 million in free agency? The Trailblazers could look at that. Like realistically, they could look at that.
Really?
And maybe they look to do a sign and trade of Josh Hart for that, similar to how they did, we did with Markkanen. Could be a possibility, but maybe they just keep Hart. There's no reason they wouldn't, right?
Yeah, because see, that's where to me that it gets weird, because it's like, man, if he was gonna do that with Josh Hart, why couldn't you get a better deal with CJ McCollum? Because matter of fact, it might have been you when I was talking about that. I'm like, or it might have been my friend Drill. Like, if Portland traded CJ for Josh Hart, right? You could have arguably talked to Indiana and probably got Sabonis for CJ McCollum and probably got another player in return. Now that I think would have probably showed that Portland they're keeping Dame for show. Yeah. But I don't know. I just don't believe it. I don't believe in Portland.
I would prefer I still would prefer the Pelicans trade, because I think you still you'd keep the cap. You would keep the cap to go after a dude like Jeremy Grant, and you get a top 15 pick. And then you can trade Hart for like a Lauri Markkanen type guy. In opposed to those like 3 players, the pick, a Lauri Markkanen type guy, and Jeremy Grant, you would really only get Sabonis. And look, some might argue which is better, but I think I'm taking I think that's more of a long-term option.
Don't Josh Hart gets paid this offseason?
He gets 12. No, he's contracted. Contracted for 2 or 3 more years. $12 million.
So when did he get extended?
Last year. I think it was like a 3 or 4 year deal. Yeah. So they've still got him contracted. So
they good then. Okay.